Green Family presents Between Worlds by Isaiah Jackson. Prologue. On a cold and dark night, permeated with hooting owls and writhing insects, a man lies in the middle of the street, battered and bruised. His body lies still, drawing on the last few breaths he has left. Broken glass encapsulates the agonizing position he's currently in. The glass derives from a recently detailed 2005 black metallic SUV. Now totaled, inverted, and accompanied by a shattered windshield. Sirens began to wail as police cars approach the accident site, increasing in volume as they get closer and closer. Chapter 1. "Good morning," Mary says to her sleeping husband, Jack. He opens his eyes to see his beautiful wife, and he smiles. "Morning. I made breakfast." "Really?" "Yeah." Jack is utterly surprised. His wife never made breakfast unless... "What's the occasion?" Mary rolls her eyes and gasps. Jack leans in and grabs Mary's hand. "Wait, I'm just making sure I didn't forget anything." "You didn't forget." "Well, in that case, thank you." Both Mary and Jack go downstairs to have breakfast with their two children, Jason and Samantha. "Oh yeah, and what did Coach say?" Jack says. "He said that if I keep practicing, I can make goals like that all of the time," Jason says. "Oh yeah?" "Yeah." "All right, that's what I like to hear." Jack and Jason fist bump each other. "Baby girl, you all right? You seem quiet this morning." His daughter looks at him with skepticism. "I'm okay." "You sure you don't have anything you need to tell Daddy?" "No." "Okay, just know you can talk to me or Mommy about anything, okay?" Samantha nods. Jack looks at Mary and she shrugs her shoulders. "All right, you guys get ready for school, okay?" Samantha is the first to get up, while Jason takes a mouthful of food and then gets up. Minutes later, the kids are done getting ready and the family begins saying their goodbyes. "Dad, don't forget my game tomorrow like last time." "I won't. I promise. Have a good day, okay?" Jason nods and heads out of the door. Samantha beelines for the door. Jack tries to stop her, but she doesn't stop walking. "All right, baby love." Jack has a concerned look on his face. He looks at Mary and then back at the door. He points at what just happened. Mary shrugs again. "I'll talk to her. Don't worry about it, okay?" She kisses him on the cheek. "Love you." Mary walks out of the door. Jack still stands there but comes to terms with what just happened. Just before he walks out, his eyes deadlock on a strange object sitting in the corner of his living room. The object at first glance looks like an oddly shaped vase. He then snaps himself out of it and walks out. Jack works in an old steel mill. The smell that it exudes is a mixture between smoke, dried sweat, and metal. Jack was a burner. Although not the safest job, it was the closest to home with the best pay. Plus, he never had to listen to his boss's incessant yelling, thanks to his blowtorch. "Jack! Jack!" Jack hears a faint mumble of sound coming toward his direction. He turns his blowtorch off and turns to see his boss a small distance away, trying to get his attention. "Hey, you gotta come in tomorrow." "What? Why?" "Miller said he can't come in tomorrow. Family emergency." Jack doesn't believe what's happening. "Is there anyone else?" His boss gasps and shakes his head no. "No." "Come on, boss. I promised my boy I would make his game tomorrow." "Sorry, Jack. My hands are tied." His boss walks off, leaving Jack alone in his conflict. Jack gets home late at night. As he's walking to his room, he spots the Daily Mail on his kitchen counter and proceeds to look through it. Mix it in with bank statements, advertisements, and report cards is a late notice on the mortgage of the house they currently live in. He continues his walk to the bedroom where he finds his wife sleeping. He takes a deep breath, puts the mail on a nightstand, and climbs into bed with his wife. "Good morning." "Morning. Why am I always waking you up?" You know one of these days we need to switch places, okay?" "I agree. I'll write it down somewhere." Mary stands up. You want to wake up the kids? Jack puts up one finger in the air with a worried look on his face. Right before the kids are ready for school, they sit at the island in the kitchen and eat their breakfast half asleep. Jack and Mary both lean against the kitchen sink. Hey, I thought you said you were going to talk to her. I did. She said she has something to tell you. Oh. Mary makes a head gesture to Jack to talk to Samantha. Baby girl, Mommy says you have something to tell me. Yes, she says in a hesitant manner. She gets up from the stool she was sitting on with her hands behind her back. She walks up to him with her head down. Happy birthday! Suddenly, she pops up with her hands in the air holding a birthday card. They both hug with Jason joining in second. Happy birthday, Dad! Thank you, thank you. Mary joins in last, and they all enjoy the moment. As the family heads out the door to start their respective days, the kids are first to walk out. Jack kisses Samantha on the forehead. Bye, baby. Bye, Daddy. Samantha walks out with Jason right behind her. Dad, 5 o'clock. Don't worry, son. I'll be there. Jason smiles. All right. Okay. Jack rubs Jason's hair and gestures for him to walk out. Mary's the second to last to leave before Jack. Bye, baby. Jack and Mary share a kiss. Bye. Mary walks out, and Jack closes the door behind her. He leans on the door, overtaken with guilt, knowing that today he's either going to lose his job or become a liar in his son's eyes. He looks up and spots the vase now sitting on the counter, now a different color. Jack walks up to the vase and grabs it aggressively, but when he does, he feels intense fear and drops it. He backs away and leaves his house. Mary and Samantha find a seat shortly after arriving at Jason's soccer game. Mary checks her phone and looks around for Jack. He's nowhere in sight. Jason is sitting on a bench in the kids' locker room putting on his cleats when he's approached by his coach. You ready, son? Yes, coach. Not long after, outside of the locker room, the team comes running out onto the field. Jason immediately begins scanning the crowd for his family. He sees his mom and sister waving at him, to which he waves back. Whilst waving, he begins to look for his dad, but Jack, like before, is still nowhere in sight. Meanwhile, at the mill, Jack turns off his blowtorch to check his watch. He takes a deep breath. He knows what he is sacrificing, but he also knows that if he loses his job, his kids won't have anywhere to sleep, any food to eat, or clothes they won't get bullied at school for wearing. Their life crumbles without the money supporting it. Is it worth it? A faint question in the back of Jack's mind. Back at the game, Jason's team is losing, not being able to get any type of forward momentum going, with Jason being the worst of all. Struggling between keeping his head in the game and looking in the stands for his dad, Jason gradually falls apart. Mary painfully witnesses Jason's inept decline from the stands. Oh, baby. Later that night, Jack gets home late, and as soon as he walks through his front door, he's met with Mary sitting on the couch watching TV. She turns it down as he sits down next to her. You lied to him, blatantly. I know. Why, you knew you weren't going to make it and you lied anyway. I was trying not to ruin his day. Just part of it, right? Jack is taken aback by that statement. Okay, now that's not fair. How? Enlighten me, Jack scoffs and puts a shocked grin on his face. You know what kind of situation we're in. I take any more time off and that's it. This life goes away. Mary looks down in acceptance. But baby, you didn't have to lie to him. He's a lot like you. He'll understand if you just talk to him. I know. They share a silence. Look, I'm gonna make it up to you guys, okay? I don't know how yet, but I will. I can guarantee that. I believe you. They share a kiss. Jack later decides to make it up to his family with a beach day. Whilst driving them to said beach day, Samantha watches a movie on her phone. Jason stares outside the car window, pouting, and Mary enjoys the ride. Hey, buddy, I know you're mad at me about the game, and rightfully so, but I wanted to make it up to you. And so I got you a little surprise. That's where we're headed to now. Jason looks down at his phone, disregarding Jack. Jack looks at Mary, making a whelp expression on his face. They eventually arrive at the beach, pulling into the parking lot close to the entrance. All right now, since I know for a fact that you guys haven't been to the beach in ages, here we are. Samantha's face immediately lights up with a smile, but Jason continues to pout despite this revelation. Jack notices, but persists with positivity. You ready, baby girl? Yeah! They begin walking toward the beach, the ocean getting louder and louder with each step that they take. Mary looks at Jack like she has fallen in love all over again. Thank you. Jack nods in acknowledgement. They get to the edge of the entrance and all stop, taking in the beautiful view. Samantha is the first to run off onto the sand, with Jack following slightly after. Mary then steps off playfully, warning them. Ah! You two be careful. Jason stays behind, taking a good look at his family. His initial frown slowly turns into a grin, then finally a smile. He watches Jack chase Samantha, and in an instant dashes after his father, starting a wrestling match as soon as he catches up with him. Jack quickly lets Jason win, wanting to take a break from all of the activity. He sits on one of the towels Mary laid over on the sand, and they both watch the kids play in the water together. This is perfect, Mary says. Jack looks at Mary and cracks a smile. His smile goes to an angered face when he sees the vase sitting in the sand behind Mary off in the distance. He gets up and is dead set on it. Baby, is everything okay, Jack? Jack. The closer he gets to it, the more suppressed everything else becomes. Dad? When he gets to the vase, he begins to hear multiple voices in his head. Excuse me, sir, can you hear me? He may never wake up again. I love you. I love you too. I'm sorry I wasn't there. The voices get louder and louder as Jack walks upon the vase and picks it up. As he opens the vase, everything goes quiet. When he fully opens it, there is nothing but darkness in it. He drops it as his eyes are now filled with that same darkness. He passes out seconds later and falls. Chapter 2. Jack wakes up in a cold and empty hospital room, alone. Whilst in the process of being released, he asks one of the doctors, Hey, do you think I can use your phone? I need to call my wife. Wife? Your file didn't say anything about a spouse. Jack is taken aback. What about kids? Mr. Miller, are you feeling okay? Jack is puzzled. He was just with them. And why wouldn't they be on his record? Just a little lost, that's all. Well, if you continue to feel lost, I would recommend some emotional therapy. I know waking from a coma can be difficult, especially if it's been a substantial amount of time. A coma, he thought to himself. No, this can't be right. Jack walks to his home, stopping occasionally along the way to admire the new additions to his city. When he gets home, he sees another family inside having dinner. At first, he's shocked and caught off guard, wanting to reject the painful truth that his family wasn't real, but he can't run or hide from what he just saw. He sits outside of the house and cries in anguish. The father of the household steps outside. Excuse me, is everything okay? Yeah, I was just leaving. The rest of the family backs the father, revealing 2 kids, 1 boy, 1 girl, and a wife. The next day, Jack considers therapy and walks to the many offices in the city. He's greeted by a receptionist subsequent to him walking in. Hi, can I help you with something? Yes, I'm here to see Dr. Murphy. Name, please? Jack Miller. He's then given a slip of paper with a room number on it. To the right of the reception desk is a long hallway. Down this hallway is a set of several office doors. He walks down the long hallway looking at each of the passing door numbers until he finds the right one. Hi. Hi, Jack, right? Right. Well, Jack, tell me why you're here. Jack nods. I am here because I was in a coma. and I don't remember who I am. Okay, and can you tell me anything you remember before the coma? Okay, can you tell me what your mother's name is? It's okay. Take all of the time you need. Margaret. Margaret Miller. Good. Do you know where she lived? Where you grew up? The only thing Jack sees in his mind is the home he lived in with his family. I can't remember the address. Jack adjusts himself in his seat. That's okay. Jack, this next question will be more difficult, so I want you to think really hard, okay? Can you do that for me? Yeah. Okay. What is the last memory you had with your mother? Jack looks down to think, trying his best to jog his memory. Maybe this will help. She pulls out a picture of his mother and slides it across the table toward him. At first, he is hesitant to pick it up. When he first looks at the photo, it's like he's looking at a stranger he never met. But the more he looks at the photo, the more he starts to recognize his mother. The first memory comes when they were at a baseball game together, then the zoo, and finally when he's driving with her on the phone. You know what, I don't fucking need you anyway. I cursed her out. Why? How should I know? And what the hell? Jack leans back and starts to slouch in his chair whilst starting to tear up. Jack, are you... She's dead, isn't she? I'm so sorry. Dr. Murphy grabs an object from behind her desk. Jack looks up and it's his mother's urn. Jack immediately gets up and starts to pace a little bit back and forth. No. Now Jack relaxes and breathes okay. Can you do that for me? Breath. Jack starts to breathe and calm down a little. Do you feel comfortable enough to sit down? Jack is uncomfortable, but agrees anyway. When he sits down, he looks everywhere but the urn. His leg also shakes intensely. Now your mother, if I can recall correctly, specific... I'm sorry, I can't do this. Jack gets up and walks out. His life is a shell of his old one. Everything he does alone. From watching TV to drinking at bars, to lying awake at night with no one at his side, to being overlooked by people at his new job. One night, he's alone in his apartment drinking. He puts the bottle down on a small glass coffee table he bought for his impromptu living room. He stares at the bottle long enough to trigger a brief memory of him having a bottle in the passenger seat of his car, sitting over a funeral service pamphlet. Back in the present, he stands up, grabs the bottle, paces around a little bit, and smashes it on his wall, screaming at the top of his lungs. His legs give out from all of the stress he's experiencing. At that moment, he decides that he's going to attack this head-on. He won't run anymore. The next day, Jack goes to see Dr. Murphy once more. Oh, hi, Jack. I don't think we... Yeah, I know, and I'm sorry for barging in, but I just wanted to say, I'm sorry about last time, you know. No. You don't have to apologize for anything. Okay, come in. Listen, I'm here for you, all right? Whether you want me to or not. Thank you, Jack says sincerely. You're very welcome. I know last time I walked out in the middle of you saying something. Okay, let me check. She checks her notes from Jack's previous session. Ah, yes, okay. So what I was saying the other day was that your mother specifically wanted her ashes to be delivered to you. Now, would you know the reason why she would request that? Jack, I know why. Later that same day, Jack goes to the same beach his mom took him to when he was a boy. It was the first time he saw waves crash on a shore, the first time he watched water overtake his tiny feet. It was also the first time he could remember her smile. She was filled with joy. And when she got cancer, he was a coward. He didn't have the heart to face her. And on some deep, deep level, he felt that if he had spent any time with her in that condition, somehow he was accepting that she was going to die, and that there was nothing that he could do about it. Nothing to do even if he had all of the money in the world. So he pushed her away, barely attending her funeral. That night he was driving his car under the influence, leaving, with no intention of coming back. He lost control of the car and lost his ability to run. He finally spreads her ashes in the ocean, watching the sun come up. This was always where she said she finally wanted to rest. I most certainly hope you've enjoyed this short audiobook. My novel is available for purchase on Amazon, as well as my website, composersplayground.com. Please be on the lookout for more stories and content going forward. I hope you have a great day.